Hello, good evening. We're learning Sipur the story from the Prayer Master. So let's just take a quick look at the story where we finished off last week and take it from there. So, as we said the king had this warrior, then he had a faithful friend. And he says this faithful friend, Naaman, is the second persona figure from the people of the king, which is the third one when we know of the Baal Tefillah, we know of the warrior, we know of the king and queen, we know of the daughter. We have found out about the orator. And then we are talking about the Oyev Naaman, the faithful friend, literally a true lover, who was in love with the king. In other words, Rabbeinu says, loved himself with the king. It's a very, very important distinction in the language of Spermaisis. With a very, very wondrously awesome love. And they loved each other, which means he and the king loved one another so much, it was completely impossible for them to be one without the other. So they did not see each other for some time. But there must be times where, they needed to be separate for a while. And they had portraits depicting the image of both of them, and they would satisfy themselves with these portraits when they were separated from each other. And the images were so formed how the king and his faithful friends love each other and hug and kiss each other with great love. These images had the ability that whoever looked at these images attained a very great love, i.e., the trait of love would come upon to someone who looked at those images. And the faithful friend also received the love from the place that the king showed him. The time came when all the above mentioned went, each one of these went to receive his power. That is the orator, the warrior, all the king's people, each one ascended to his place to renew his power. So, by the way, there's one person who is not mentioned here that will be mentioned later on, and that's a treasurer. Since each one of these people represent the Sephirah, the treasurer represents the Sephirah Yesod. It is something that's not meant the man of the king that is in charge of all the treasures does not own the treasures. He's only the one who gathers the treasures and disperses the treasures to where they need to go. This Fiat Malchut, the treasurer does not own the treasure, obviously. He just is the custodian. He takes care of it. This is the Spheras Hayesod. And the thing is that there is constantly a Nakuda where there's Aliyah and Yerida, there's going up, there's going down. And the king's people have to go up again, Aliyah, to receive their power, to receive Kodesh Baruch Hu. And this is the thing that enables the following to occur. And the day came to pass, and there was a very great storm wind upon the world. And this storm wind mixed up the entire world and overturned sea to dry land, and dry land to sea, in the wilderness to settlement, and the settlement to wilderness, and overturned the entire world. And the storm went into the king's house and did no damage except that the storm wind entered and snatched away the child of the queen's daughter. And amidst the commotion, As soon as Stormwind snatched away the precious child, the queen's daughter pursued after him, as did the queen, as did the king, until they were all scattered, and they knew not where they were. And we were not all there, says the prayer master, because we're all gone up, each one to his place to renew his power, as mentioned. When we returned, we found none of them as mentioned. And the hand, which is by them, the Chacham was also lost to them. Since then, we have all been scattered, and we can no longer to go up, each one to his place to renew his power, since the entire world has been overturned and mixed up. No locations of this world were changed, sea to dry land, etc. It's suddenly impossible to go up along the original paths because now we need different paths according to the change in the places. Therefore, we are no longer to go up, each to his place to renew his powers. By the impression that remains by each of us, meaning, i.e., the little bit that has remained by each other from long ago, is also very great. If this mighty one is the king's warrior, suddenly a very, very mighty warrior, this is all what the prayer leader said to the people. Here we go, talking about the process of the creation of the world. When the Sefirot go up to receive their power, they receive light from Hashem Yisborach, and the light that they get is beyond their capacity to contain, and they shatter. This is the Ruach Sa'or, that's the storm wind, which Rabbeinu is talking about here. Now, each one of the king's men represents a sphere. The baby, the Tinoch, as it says in Shikedesh, is Nishmas Yisrael. They said the baby is already infused with all the meters of all the spheres, but he can't talk, which was the last tikkun he does not have. This is the tikkun that B'ezrat Hashem will be given when Mashiach will come, because Mashiach is from Lashon Messiah, making people talk and share with Hashem Yisborach and talk to him. This phenomena of the storm wind going into the king's palace, not doing any damage except snatching the baby, represents the fact that the baby is the only thing that the Sitra Achra wants. The Sitra Achra has no negia in the Sefirot, none. The shattering of the vessels occurred only in the middle of Malchus. So the Malchus Datzilus. This is the Kuda that was shattered. And the shards fell from the Atzilus to the Bria, to the Bina of the Bria, and the light went up, the lights that were in the vessels, in the Malchus, they retreated to the Yesod of Atzilus. We spoke about it quite a few times. There's a disconnect. But at the same time, it is a bridgeable distance. The light, which is the light of the love of Hashem Yisborach, cannot be very, very far away, because otherwise we will perish. So it is stored in the Madrega of Yesod Atzilus, keeping an eye on us as we go along. The spheres in the meantime, they all they cannot get their renewal, as we said before. It's not possible for them to come up and get there get their koich again. So the reason is that there's a shatter in the vessels. The light cannot go up and get the shefa anew. And Anash spoke about, on Shishlamenu, so they said this is the main pe'ula of the Yitzhar, to prevent renewal. Just remain the way you were. Just stay the way you are, remain the way you are. In other words, the Yitzhar cannot force a person to do Averis. The one thing it can do is prevent renewal. Renewal starts with there is an emes, there is a mabon, there is a tachlis, and I need to renew myself, to go to shul, to daven more kavana, to ask Kadosh Baruch Hu. It is inevitable that we meet various kinds of chalishus hadas and being demoralized. When we take a look at who we are and the way we are at various times, it's very easy to come to the conclusion that, come on, you're not really getting there. This ain't happening. This is not. The answer is that what we need to do while we can't talk, while the baby has been snatched, which means our own sense of self has been snatched. There's so many things that throw us back. It could be health problems, it could be money problems, it could be relationship problems. It could be, all kinds of confusions and uncertainties and so forth and so on. The name of the game remains renewal. Nevertheless, even though I am as I am, I'm holding the Rebbe by the hand and I'm starting all over again. I'm starting all over again. The one thing that is so necessary in starting over again is about tefillah. In other words, asking Kadosh Baruch Hu. And the first person, the first member of the entourage of the king is the warrior. The Baal Tefillah in you has to connect with the warrior in you. The warrior in you represents decisiveness. I'm going to start again. But how? I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what should I do. It comes with a decision. You sit down, you contemplate, write down, whichever way you are actually doing it. But it starts with a focus around a goal. This is what I'm going to do. And usually when you step in, you're going through all the klipos of the Ruach Saora and Onan Godel and Onshul Kachas, that you don't know how you're going to do it. It'll never happen. You'll never be able to do it. Whatever it is, that all these things, all these kind of demoralizations and confusions and discombobulation, you have to go through each and every one. For this, you have to be resolute. I'm going after this. And according to how resolute you are able to be, this is how successfully you will be able to renew yourself. It's a renewal that once you enter this renewal, a whole world opened up to you. Suddenly, you have Siyata Dishmaya. And the world after the renewal does not resemble the way that you used to see yourself, the way you used to feel, and the way that your universe looked like before the renewal. It is impossible to really describe it, except by saying, how you're a boy, and suddenly you become a teenager. Then you become an adult. Then you get married. You work, and so forth. And every step of the way, includes in it a renewal, a passing from one state to another. And the universe that you have entered into does not resemble anything that used to be before. You couldn't even imagine how it would be in your previous quote unquote life or stage, or whatever you want to call it. But the main thing is that during that transition from one state to the other, from where I am now to where I'm going to be, there is a certain passage of shattering, shattering of the vessels. The vessels shatter. I have to go through a certain period of time, but I don't know what it is that I do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be successful. I'm not going to be successful. But the one thing is, what I know is that there is a melech. There is no other tachlis in the world except to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to start again. And it doesn't matter if I'm the worst of the worst. Could be. But it doesn't matter. I have to start again because there is nothing else to do. They say the story of Elisha ben Avuya Acher. He kept on hearing all these messages, Mishamayim, that, Shuvu Bonim Sheva Chutz Me'acher. Everybody is invited to do tshuva except Acher. And whatever it is that he did in order to find out, he all the time wanted to find out, am I going to be successful? Is my tshuva going to be received? And this was his mistake. It was not the business of Acher to find out whether Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to accept his tshuva or not accept his tshuva. His role, his responsibility was to start again. To start again, simple. That's his job. This is our job. I tell you, Baruch Hashem, we already have Rabbeinu, and we can lean, and we must lean on Rabbeinu's koyach, on his strength. Bevadei Hashem Yisborach will accept that tshuva, en shum safek, and we will renew, and we will become better at what we want to become better, B'ezrat Hashem. And if we don't, that means it's not necessary. What's necessary is for me to do everything that is incumbent upon me to do, and that's it. If I'm successful, B'ezrat Hashem. If I'm not successful, Kadosh Baruch Hu is the boss. I don't need to, call the shots for him. Say I need to be, to be as great as the Vilna Gaon. It's not my business. That's not where my mind is at. It's not my role. My role is to start anew. I may be sleeping my life. I may be discombobulated. I may be demoralized. Could be. But it's not that I'm quote unquote not making it. It's not I'm not making it. It's a process. That is the process. No matter what happens in the process, that is the process. What will be? What needs to be will be. So, no more, no less. The name of the game is to keep your head on your shoulders, a presence of mind, while the trials and tribulations of one's life are shaking a person and rattling and it's very, it's natural to feel very vulnerable and feel like I don't know what's going on with me. But the point is that we are living our lives now. There is Olam Haba. There is Olam Haba. At a certain point in time, after many years, without Hashem, we need to leave this world. I saw a presentation about a very, quote unquote, legendary Jewish comedian that passed away not long ago, age, 1995, I don't know how old he was. And there was this program where he was eating lunch with various younger comedians and movie stars, whatever it is, one-on-one. And they would eat with him and they would talk with him. They were all gaga, how legendary he was. And I looked at one of these videos, and I saw a Jewish comedian sitting there eating, shellfish, and that's and I thought to myself, 95 years old, or whatever, maybe older, younger, I don't remember. Everybody's going gaga over you. Everybody's going like, wow, what a legend you are, and how amazing you are. And what did you do? You're sitting there eating something not kosher. And ultimately, when his life is over, he actually passed away. I'm not even talking about what needs to go, the chibut hakeva has to go through, people have to go through, to knock out the non-kosher. But what kind of Olam Haba is? It's no joke. It's not a comedy show. Olam Haba. The thing is that all of us, especially the Balachugas, we went through whatever we went through, and we are measured by nanometers of renewal, of resolution. Every time we eat kosher food, anytime we say a word of emunah, every time that we learn Torah, every time that we come close to the tzaddikim, it is expanses in universes of spirituality. Also in this world, but we don't see them. But definitely the Olam Haba. This is what we're working on. So yes, we're going to be discombobulated. Yes, we're going to be afraid. We're going to be terrified. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But ultimately, Rabbeinu says a person needs to keep the memory. There's not only just this world, there's Olam Haba. And everything that happens to me in this world is the story of my life, the Sipur Maisius of my life. The Baruch is inside the story. He's talking to me with everything that's happening to me. The more I trust him, the less frightened I'll be. Hashem should help us. They should all be healthy and wealthy and happy, especially now. Chodesh Adar was Rabbeinu Yotzeit. Bezat Hashem. Poem is what his name? I'm not sure. We'll talk about it, Bezat Hashem. So we'll stop here, and Bezat Hashem, as the week goes on, we'll talk about what's going to happen next week with the share. Kol Tov and a good evening.